yeah.
Can you see me?
It was on the brand, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So today with me, my brother, of course. Introduce yourself quickly, little bro.
Hi, my name's Damien. I'm Akeisha's brother, Carrie's brother.
And my sister-in-law.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry.
My name is Jess.
Okay. And of course, Tyrone from Chameleon's Eye. El ojo de cameleón.
Hola.
Estamos aquí. Hola. Hi. So today we're going to be discussing, we're here to discuss do you know why we're here, guys? I'm like, come on.
We do indeed. We're talking about racism online and what we've experienced and how we deal with it on a day-to-day basis, especially with people like us with large followers.
Absolutely, you have a following. Let's not be around the bush. You do have following. I think between you have more than 120. I want to say, or close about that, 120,000 between both of you.
100, just over 110,000 between us, I think.
Oh, okay, so yeah, that's a large following, and I have to say, Tyrone, I called my brother yesterday because I got so, I'm going to use the word that I felt. I felt angry because I read some very disgusting racial comments on his page, and it wasn't an isolated comment. You see this over and over and over again. So with you, Tyrone, obviously you are you're very active on all the socials as well. Are you seeing this? Are you experiencing? Do you know where we're coming from?
Okay, I'm kind of presuming what you're talking about. Basically, it's the base of interracial dating hate. Am I correct?
Absolutely. You've got it right. Exactly that. Because I mean, I went into Jess's comments earlier. I don't know if you noticed I was on there, Jess.
Why all these likes? And I was like, oh, it's Keisha.
Okay. And I was going through it just to see the comments. And what I noticed on all of the comments were the videos where you were with Damien, my brother. There was a lot of negativity. There was a lot of racial slurs. There were lots of hate that I was reading. All the things that people were saying. There were lots of monkey emojis. These kind of things. And you think, really? How do you handle that, Jess? How do you handle you're trying to make everyone laugh. Your videos, both your pages are extremely funny, but extremely entertaining. So how does it feel to see these comments and these negative and hateful words?
Well, for me, I probably get more annoyed about them than you do, don't I? Like, I just get irritated by it. Like, not so much about the comment, because as bad as it is, we kind of expect it now, don't we? Like, we shouldn't have to expect it, but it's just kind of like, we just know as soon as we post a video up with both of us in, someone will put some sort of comment. It's like expected now. But it's just like the whole thought of like, wow, you really woke up today, went onto TikTok, saw a video and thought, do you know what? I'm going to comment this today. Like, it's just like, how does your brain work? Like, it just doesn't get through to my brain, like how they think that that's okay to even say what they say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you think it's more to do with seeing you? Because Tyrone, you're of mixed heritage as well, aren't you?
That's correct. Yeah.
Do you experience racial abuse on your socials, or do you think it's more geared towards when you see a couple, that sort of gets to people?
I don't really hear it or receive it per se, but it's usually when I enter spaces, black spaces, whether it's forums, stuff like that, and then you hear sometimes people are like, oh, you know, we should, you know, black men should choose black women, or that sort of rhetoric, or vice versa. And people say, oh, you know, I have heard stuff in the past like white women are stealing our kings and stuff like that.
Got that comment the other day.
Yeah. So you think it's both ways. It's it's coming from us as well as white people. You feel?
Yeah.
But I feel that I don't think they were on their comments. I didn't see any black people, because I mean, normally people do hide their faces, and I think people are becoming a lot bolder, because on the comment that I got so angry about yesterday, the person's face was there, so there is no hiding anymore. I think people have are becoming bolder than ever. Why do you think this is?
I personally think one of the reasons for that is just the action in which social media take is very limited. I mean, if they're reported, they'll probably get banned for a period of time, but they'll then get to come back on, or you know, come back on as a different name, you know, with a different picture, and do again. Whereas at the moment in England, there's a lot of footballers that's getting racial abuse online as well. And one of the things that they're calling for is the government to do more. And the social media owners to do a lot more in terms of, you know, when you're registering, you know, why not register with your passport, so we know exactly who you are, where you live. And if you keep doing all this, then, you know, the police can get involved. Because just a slap on the wrist and an email saying you're banned for a week just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. What Twitter was saying, I was reading this morning about an Arsenal player, Willian. I'm not into football at all, but he's been having problems with people being racist, you know, calling him monkey, the normal things that you get. And Twitter has had to refuse to change its policy, because it says that anonymous accounts, people have the right to be anonymous. They have the right to voice their opinions and not be open about it. And the reference was the comparison was made to, you know, people being allowed to speak out against oppressive regimes and such. But I don't feel as though this has to do with oppression. It's a way for cowards really to hide behind well, they don't put a picture up normally. It's just to hide behind the being anonymous. And I think this is becoming an issue. Okay, but the question I wanted to ask, anyway, there's a question in there somewhere. Is interracial relationship, in your opinion, still viewed as something negative? This is for all three of you, so answer as you will.
100%, yeah. 100%. And we obviously receive more racism from white people, like not just English people. Like the amount of hate that I've got has probably been mainly from like Iraq and things like places like that, like Arabic people. But like we put a video up a while ago of me aging with this filter and Damien not aging, and that just brought up so many racist comments in it about how white people like will age like bananas and I should leave him so that he can go and be with a black queen and they can grow old together.
Oh my God.
like all this crazy nonsense.
But
Wow.
the thing is, you know, there as well as that, we do get a lot of support.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
there's a
I've
lot of,
noticed that.
there's a lot of black and white people that support us, and you know, just like shocked with all these comments, and like will comment back to these videos. And you know, recently I've been reacting to these comments, not because it's getting to me, but because I feel I need to put it out there for people to realize that this still goes on. It happens every single day, you know, and quite often these people take their comments down, or you know, delete their kind of page, which I think just that little bit will take them off social media from doing it to someone else that will be affected by it. But it doesn't stop them from coming back on, like I said earlier, as a different name, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tyrone, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, so it's horrible when people say those when they try to push those stereotypes. I mean, the common phrase is black doesn't crack. And you know, I'm sure there are many white people who age gracefully. I mean, you can't just, you know, be so derogatory like that, you know. And I wanted to ask him a question actually, because this is something that I've experienced. For example, I mean, you can hear the way I speak. I don't have a quintessential black man's diction, if you will. So I mean, do you get these type of comments like, oh, you know, you're trying to be white, now you're dating white, you know, you're self-hating?
Do you know what, in my job I speak to quite a lot of people over the phone, and if you speak to me over the phone, you probably wouldn't know I'm black. And even though people don't say it, you know, if I was to speak to someone on the phone and then I meet them, they for as an example, there was a business manager of a supermarket that I spoke to on the phone, and then I had to go and meet him. Now I took the store manager, I'm the area manager, I took the store manager of the store in the area, and as we went to meet him, immediately he turned to this white guy, thinking it was that he spoke to on the phone, you know. So it's like he doesn't seem to think, you know, I'm good enough to be in the position that I am.
Absolutely.
And
it doesn't register.
I knew this was coming, and I was just shaking, like, you know, getting to the punchline. It's really, really sad. Yeah.
It is.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And it's sad, but I think you get that everywhere. But the point as well that, you know, if you speak properly, which is I think Tyrone was getting at, you're not black, you know. And what is being black? What is speaking black? You're, at the end of the day, you're speaking your mother tongue. This is your first language. You know, we don't know any other language, any other languages. Well, we've learned along the way, but your mother tongue is English. So why then is it such a big deal when you speak it properly? Is it to do with the fact that it doesn't matter what you do, you're still seen as inferior because of the color of your skin? Could it be that, and that people have not quite digested that concept of equality? Possibly.
I think there's a lot of stereotype to go with that. You know, like when you think of a black person, you just think, oh, they're a certain type. You don't think, oh, there'll be black people that's, you know, educated and that's got you know, decent jobs and speak properly and you know, right. You know, a lot of people just see all black people to be the same. You know, when you know that's not the case. Don't get me wrong. There are some black people out there that you know are gangsters, etc. But there's also people out there that are gangsters, etc. But you don't, you know, put all white people in that category, do you?
Absolutely.
You need to put all black people into this one category.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you?
of that though. Like I was literally speaking to Damien about this yesterday. I feel like it really does depend on what their own opinions, because we have comments in real life as well as on social media of people like saying that I'm lucky that I'm with Damien and things like that. And it really irritates me that people like put us in an image of like one of us is better than the other. But I feel where Damien's in the position that he's in within like work, and he drives a certain car and he wears certain types of clothes and that kind of thing, whereas I'll just wear what I wear and I drive the car that I drive, and people would be like, she's so lucky that she's with him, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's true, it's different personalities. That doesn't equate to superior or inferior. And I think this is what social media is fantastic, because I feel as though more and more people from a variety of different backgrounds are coming out and they're saying, this is me and look at me. And actually what you're seeing is that we all have so much in common. So we see these problems, but do you feel as though we can use social media to our advantage to, I dare say, to eradicate racism? Maybe I'm dreaming, but do you think we could use it to our advantage? Maybe.
Absolutely. I think we can help to try and educate people. There are some people that will take it in, and there's some people, like I said, one of the reasons I share some of the comments that I get is because I want to educate people that this still happens. And, with social media, sometimes I'm quite surprised with how far it reached. There's people commenting from like Canada, for example, in the USA, and all over the world. So I think absolutely social media is a good platform to start to educating people about the fact that racism is still there.
Absolutely. Jess, because I tend to. Okay, I know you get quite passionate because I've seen a black and white video, I think it was, because you were just so fed up of all the hate that you guys are receiving. And I do feel proud of you, because you are family. You are family. I don't care if you're different skin color, the same way I'm sure you don't care that I am the color I am, And so when do you feel that you have a responsibility then, because you are in obviously a black family as well? Do you feel as though you have that responsibility to educate other people, or do you feel as though that's a lot of pressure?
So this is really strange, because obviously when everything kind of proper blew up with what was his name, George Floyd?
Yeah.
When everything, obviously everyone was like, oh yeah, I'm not racist, I want to support blah blah blah, that kind of thing. Like everyone was just, we were talking about one of the D'Amelio sisters,
Damilola Taylor.
Yeah, and she'd put the fist as her profile picture, the Black Lives Matter fist.
Yeah.
And she was getting loads of hate from black people supporting. And I said to Damien, like, I absolutely feel that it's my place to not educate, because it's like I can't educate on his race, I can't educate his background, but I can educate, stop being so blooming ignorant. I can try and change people's mentalities towards it. But I absolutely feel it's like a responsibility. But at the same time, we were having a conversation and I was just kind of like, not all black people have the same views and opinions. I mean, the conversation that we had with you, we had that conversation about racism ages ago, and you had completely different views to Damien on certain subjects, but around race. So I was like, it's really hard for someone in my position to be trying to push something when not all Black people have the same sort of opinion. So I'm like, yes, I do feel it's my responsibility. Like at the time of us getting a lot of hatred, like in the comments and things, a lot of my family members, like not close, but like relatives within my family, some of them are like openly racist, and like they're just not part of my family anymore. Like was quite happy to just completely cut ties. So I'm like, if you're gonna be that ignorant and that rude, that disrespectful, like I don't even need to know you. Like it's just not. And I
Absolutely.
don't trying to get brownie points. Like, look at me, I've cut my family members off to show that I'm not. It's just like, I don't want that negativity. Like, if we bring a child into this world, I don't want them to have to be dealing with a family member of mine that might look at them a different way or treat them a different way because of how they look or anything like that. Like, I would never want to put my child into that situation. I wouldn't ever want to put Damien into that situation. Like, so in that kind of sense, yes, I do feel responsibility, but I find it difficult to know what to say and how to say it when different Black people have different opinions to other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Tyrone, I'm putting you in it again because I always think it's a good place to talk. It's good to have you here because you are literally a product of this, you are of mixed heritage. So how does that make you feel? Honestly, how does it make you feel that still today in 2021 and we're still dealing with all of this rubbish? What does that say to you? How does that make you feel? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the whole conversation, that was running through my mind. Like, we're in 2021, and it's such a shame that these two people are going through that. And, it's like people lack maturity. I don't know why people can't just see two people in love. I don't know why the color has to be the first thing that they notice or judge you on, And with I am mixed, but if I had one white granddad.
Oh, okay.
So with my situation, because my mom was the mix. I'm the same color as my mom, but I was the lightest child. So that's a whole nother conversation.
Colorism.
Shadism. That's a whole nother conversation. Maybe later on down the line, your guests could maybe, I'm not sure what's maybe cooking. But
well, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, up to God. But
yeah. But okay. So going back, racism and abuse in general, because there's lots of different types of abuse that we're seeing online against lots of different groups of people. It's not just a race thing; it's abusing everyone. Really, do you think the social media companies have the responsibility, or they should be held account? They should have some sort of accountability, because there is none. And should it be up to them to say, all right, there is none, because everyone in the same way, guys, that if I make a video and because you're a content creator, Tyrone, if you make a video about a certain thing, YouTube will take it down, Twitter will take it down, it'll be taken down, and sometimes you're like, well, this is not really that's not, it's not, you're not offending anyone, yet it goes against community guidelines or whatever. If it's that easy, then why is it that it's allowed to people are allowed to show these overtly hateful comments and that be acceptable, and there's no punishment for that? Should there be some sort of accountability to the company, for the actual companies? Is it up to them to do something, do you think?
Yes, because they are hosting the content. I know they give some degree of autonomy to the content creators, but as the stage or the platform, they should really be managing what they are hosting. I know YouTube, they are trying. We all the content creators complain on YouTube. The bots do most of the work these days, the AI. But people always complain about freedom of speech. So it's like, but people, this is the thing, people abuse the freedom of speech, and that's why, unfortunately, everyone has to suffer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We need something a bit more accurate to kind of filter through what is acceptable content and what is abusive or racial. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This
Mm.
idea, guys, about if you're on social media, you have to have a thick skin. You have to have thick skin to be on here.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that? All three of you. I'd like to know what your standpoint is.
I completely agree. You do, but in reality, not everyone has. Some people will deal with it differently and will affect some people differently. In my case, I kind of just laugh it off and just try and sorry, a bit of echo there. I try and just laugh it off and just try and just call these people out, etc. But there are people out there that are not thick-skinned and are younger generation or suffer from mental health or anxiety, etc. And just one comment can absolutely affect them dramatically. And I think for those kind of reasons, there needs to be more kind of protection for those kind of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you feel the same? Do you think, Tyrone, do you have thick skin when it comes to this? Because I know you are quite active as well.
I'll say now I have a thick skin, but it's because of what your guest just said. I've been uploading content since 2008, and yeah, I have experienced a lot of abuse, so on and so forth. And now I have a thick skin, but I had to endure in order to get to this point, But on the other hand, I'm always thinking on both sides of the story. So yeah, I don't. How can I explain this? We shouldn't have to grow thick skin, but because of the people that take advantage of the freedom, because someone left a comment about guidelines on freedom of speech. I wasn't saying that's what we need to do. I was saying that because people take advantage, other people get hurt, and so that's why they try to put restrictions on freedom. Yeah, because other people ruin it. So I do have a thick skin because I've been through stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is, I guess.
Absolutely. But I have to give people props because they're more than likely you will see people coming after those hateful comments, and you will see it. I had this one comment saying, wow, you helped me pass my GCSE Spanish. Even though you are black, I can't remember the rest of the thing. It's just sort of
my God.
He was being grateful, but at the same time, it was sort of like, even though it came from you,
compliment, maybe.
Yes, it's like I appreciate it, even though, and I just left that. I mean, I didn't respond because other people responded and called him out for it.
Called him out,
but, yeah. But so, and more than often, you will see that the community in general is quite supportive. So that's one positive thing I have to say. That more and more people, do try to. But there's still a lot to be done, I feel. Because as you mentioned before, I don't remember if it was Damien or you, Tyrone, that there are more and more younger people online all the time, and they're impressionable. So, what are we saying to our future generation? What are we saying to them? We're saying, this is normal. Do you think it's become normal? It's just harmless commenting. Do you think the comments are harmless and it's normal?
No, I think the comments are. I think comments can be as dangerous as shooting a gun. Okay, I think there are people that just take things so personally, and I hate to say it, but there's people out there that will commit suicide because of what other people say, and
absolutely,
comments are very dangerous, and I think. Again, social media just need to kind of recognize that,
Absolutely.
And I remember when we were kids, they used to teach us this saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. So I don't know if maybe my generation, they were taught that, but maybe the generation coming up now haven't been taught that. But I mean, I think in general, they say that mental health is skyrocketing, you know, within the past couple of decades. So I'm not really sure if people are really teaching people how to be strong, mentally stable, how to defend themselves.
Because the world is changing, and it is a social media world. You know, we are on the net all the time, and perhaps we don't all have the tools to manage it, to cope with it, and or know how to behave, and know how to deal with it all. And so that's an issue, I think, as well. And perhaps, do you think limiting what kids see on these social media should be a point that we bring up as well?
Absolutely. It should be. However, kids these days with technologies, they can find a way of getting around, being blocked from seeing a certain thing. They can absolutely get around that. So, you know, regardless of what we do to try and block kids or limit what they see, they will see it anyway.
I do think that it's a parent's responsibility, though, like, regardless of whether they can get around it. Like I said, I probably get like more annoyed about the comments than what Damien does, and I get to a point where I literally have a social media break because I just can't deal with like those sort of comments like continuously coming in. So like, I'm a 30-year-old woman. If I'm feeling like I have to take a social media break, and I'm not on social media like posting every day, like that kind of like, so this is like, and like for kids, like especially teenagers who are on it every second of every single day.
There you go.
Then I need to have a break. Then absolutely, like your kids need to have a break, regardless of whether they think they do. I feel like it's a parent's or guardian's responsibility to be making sure that children are having that like break away from it, because like comments can do more to a person than what some people think they will. So
absolutely. But the thing is as well is, sorry, were you going to say something, Damien?
No, I agree.
But as you say, limiting, that's quite tough, trying to limit what kids say. You know, sometimes in class, kids are on their devices all the time. And so if you don't, even if it's in class, you simply cannot control everything they see and the access they have. So it's hard. I feel as though we have to there's something needs to happen to change the way we perceive things, the way we consume, if you like, because we're consuming everything. And believe it or not, it is influencing our children. It's influencing the future generation, and that's quite sad, because it's almost as though we're going backwards. And so sorry, were you going to say something?
Sorry, I was just saying I agree with that completely.
Yeah. So we're now on a world stage, and it's made me reflect back on, because I've noticed the English in some of your comments, they're not English. The grammar or the way things are written, the misspelling of things. So what this is showing me is you're opening yourself to the world, really. Yeah. Absolutely. So do you see a difference? Do you see, because growing up in England, I feel as, not England, in Wiltshire, I feel as though I felt more protected when it came to certain situation. And it was only when we were a bit older and we, in Kevin, other name for Damien, sorry, started, that happened the other day as well, didn't it, Tyrone?
Yeah.
We all have second names in our family. We're Jamaican. So going back to England, I felt as though I didn't suffer the same things Kevin did just because he was male. You know, I remember at one point he'd get stopped everywhere he went with his car. Everywhere the police used to stop him. Yeah. Again, this goes back to racial profiling and You know, how do you deal with that? Does that still happen? This is for both of you guys, and Jess, obviously, you can drop your grain of sand in as well if you have anything to say. All of you, it's out there.
Tyrone, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, and I feel really sad to say this. I feel it's like a 50-50. So I moved to Spain in February 2019. And up until then, in the UK, I had never been stopped by the police. I've lived in London all my life. I lived in the central London. I lived in like Zone 6 near Heathrow Airport. I lived in South London, North London, Camden, you know. But then when I started to come to Spain, that's when I started getting ID checked. I got ID checked in Madrid a couple of times. I've been ID checked about 3 times here in Valencia City. And it's a very weird experience. You know, it's never happened to me before. You just get 1,000 things going through your mind. Like, you know, do I look like a criminal, or do I look like someone who's committed a crime? Or, you know, I think one time I didn't have my passport on me and I was really scared. I was like, what could they happen? Could they put me in a jail cell because I haven't got a passport?
Yeah.
You know, you see those programs like Banged Up Abroad.
Yeah. And it makes you think.
Yeah.
It does make you think. Tyrone and I, and Tan Linda as well, who's in the chat. Big up, Tan Linda. I'm seeing you. It's just that we're talking, and I can't really reply to what you're saying. But we're in a Jamaican group, and just the other day, someone wrote that they were just so shook up. I think it's Lavelle, that she'd gone to the bathroom and they'd waited for her when she got out, and it was just the whole situation just left her a little bit shaken up, and you know, and so she wanted to know whether or not any of us had gone through that experience. So it's quite interesting to see because I will say the same thing. I haven't had some of the experiences that have happened to me in Spain in England. So I think it does depend where you are and how used to immigration people are. It's not seen as normal, you know, and obviously you know that the moment you start talking English in Spain, it's almost as though you're not so black anymore. You're a little bit
golden ticket or something, yeah.
Exactly. Or if they see your passport and they're like, oh, eres de Inglaterra, or eres americano, or it's, do you know what I mean? It's I feel as though that sense of you're always, I think the color of your skin to society says, and a lot of people still have that in mind, that it is inferior. Why do you think this is still the case today? Or maybe you don't agree with me on that. That's just an opinion. What do you feel as though it's synonym to inferior, to being inferior in the eyes of some?
I think. Oh, do you want to go first? Yeah.
There you go.
Then all fight to go. Right.
I personally think with in England it is totally different from Spain now, and in like some of all the racism etc. that I used to experience in England, I don't anymore. However, I think that's mainly because, you know, I live in a community that's not that large, and you know, quite a lot of you know, officials, police know who I am and where I work, etc. Because of like dealings with them on a positive before. So I feel like it's not the same in England where I live at the moment. But I do agree, male versus female will probably be treated different. And I have noticed in Spain, obviously I visited you, I've noticed And it's the same thing in America, though. Like, I've also visited you when you were in America, and I find like people will look at you as in, okay, that's just another black person. But when you start speaking and your English accent come up, they're like, ah, you're English, and they do look at you differently.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with that.
Were you going to say something? Or okay, I thought you were going to say something, but I do feel as though the lack of exposure to diversity is what is where all of this has come from. Because a lot of people, I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, where someone you might, because we're always around white communities. We grew up in Wiltshire, and obviously, wherever we've gone, it's just been mainly white people. And sometimes someone will say something, and then they'll say, "Oh yeah, but not you," or "Yeah, but you're all different." I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, and it's sort of like, really? Do you think that's a compliment, or am I different because I'm here? And I know they will go on to explain why that not you, because this, and it's just not understanding that if you're insulting one, you're insulting everybody. It's not, so it's educating, I feel. But has that happened to you guys where people felt that it was okay to speak badly about somebody else because they thought that you probably wouldn't be offended if they excluded you?
Yeah. It has happened like around my school years, like junior school,
Right.
maybe early secondary school. I had a lot of those type of things. And I remember funny stories. They were being racist against. They were making like jokes about Indians, like South Asians, and one person went shh, like they went shh, and then they looked at me, and I was just like, I'm not Indian, like I'm black. But it's like, in a way, I was still kind of offended, because if you're making racist jokes about Indians, when is the black jokes gonna come along?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And something I wanted to piggyback off the last thing a little bit. With the stop and ID checks, I said to myself that I'm not gonna. I did have a little rant, but overall, I said I'm not gonna take it personally, because I am aware of the immigration issue that Spain does have, and also I can't just paint everyone with the same brush, because a lot of people would say, "Oh, you're going to a white country, it's racist." Da da da. Not all white people are racist, and
absolutely not.
Yeah, and so I've met some amazing white people. One of my best friends is white, in England.
Tyrone, sorry.
Yeah,
you just made, when you're talking to someone, it's very, yeah, but I know a black person. Or
yeah, this is another thing as well. Oh, my sister's cousin is black. I'm not racist.
Yeah.
What do you want to mean? My sister's boyfriend's cousin. Yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah. No,
so
absolutely.
we have to be careful not to tar everyone or paint everyone with the same brush. And also, I don't know if you're going to cover this later, but perpetuating the stereotypes as well. This is a muddy waters, so to speak, as well, because if I say don't perpetuate stereotypes, does it mean that you must act white? So it kind of goes back in a circle again.
Yeah.
But then again, what is acting white? Is speaking standard English that you're supposed to learn in school considered white?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But saying that as well,
attire as well.
Absolutely. Jess, do you have this? Do you ever hear acting black? Because we hear, oh, you're acting white if you speak well. Do you ever hear, oh, acting black or trying to be black?
Well, probably only when I'm like dancing in the club. Like, that's the truth.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know if I might get that. No, not really. Like, no, not really. I don't really get that, to be fair. Like,
okay.
No.
So, what would it be, guys, to act black? Because it's basically what I was trying to say before. Because you get accused of being white when you speak your language appropriately. So what is it then to be Black according to society, according to what is expected? What is it then to be Black? No, I'd like somebody to answer that for me, because I'm perplexed. I am. Go on. Come at me.
I think some people watch films and they see, Black people wearing like, baggy jeans and, with the hat backwards, etc., the hoods on,
Like the most popular word I would personally say for a white person to say, for someone to be like, why are you acting Black, is for them to be like, wagwan.
their speech.
And I would probably say that would be the main thing for me, is when white people try to speak patois, like when it's any part of their culture or background, or they know anyone that can speak it, it's just from like media or whatever. That's the only thing that I would say is quite popular, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but expecting to walk around like this, I feel as though it's one of those things. Yeah, you're like, really? Okay, so good posture, being well dressed. What is that? Because my brother has excellent posture, and would that classify you as not being Black? Okay, so we're strained a little bit. Obviously, this channel is for educating, especially younger kids, okay? So what advice would either of you guys give to young people when it comes to bullying online or racist remarks? What advice would you give them? How would you advise them to face this?
I would personally say, in terms of online abuse, etc., I would say if you're going to feel a certain way, feel guilty, or feel scared saying certain things to someone's face, then you probably shouldn't be doing it like online or on social media. Also, if you will get offended by someone saying certain things to you, don't say it to them.
Absolutely.
And also, just don't stereotype. Don't look and don't paint, like you said earlier, Tyrone. Don't paint everyone with the same brush. Everyone's different.
Absolutely. And I think it's get yourself a Black friend if you're on here being racist and not know. Get to know someone, individuals. Because a lot of times, as I said, people say, "Oh yeah, you're different." Yes, because you know me. Go meet some more Indians. Go meet some Chinese. Go meet some more Black people, because then your concept will change, because that you will see people on a different level. You will see the human side, and I feel as though we still have a long way to go in terms of all these prejudiced thinking, because this has been centuries in the making. It's not like we can do. Social media is relatively new, so a lot of people do hide behind the screen, and they behave a certain way because obviously they feel emboldened to do that. I have a neighbor, for instance, and he's openly, I know his opinions. And I've said before, I used to say to my kids, because my eldest daughter used to say to me, I say hello and he never replies. And I used to say to her, my granddad always said, be polite, he's an adult, respond. Say hello, it's greeting, greet, because it's the polite thing to do. But after a while of just the disrespect and the blatant just ignoring you and being quite standoffish, I said to her, don't do it anymore. You might think that was the wrong thing to say to, a teenager, but if you're constantly putting yourself out and you're constantly being rejected, do you feel as though it's turn the other cheek sort of situation in order to get rid of this way of thinking? Can we change somebody's idea when they have such ingrown ideas about what they believe and how they perceive other people?
Sorry, guys. I firmly believe that we can change people's opinion, and I've had it with neighbors before, but I've had it with people where I said hello and they kind of just like not bothered. So sometimes I go out my way and say hello, just a bit louder so they can hear you. And do you know what? People start having a conversation with me. They realize that I'm actually not that bad,
Yeah.
and I hope doing things like that will encourage people to just open up to other Black people, because we're not like animals.
We're probably going to eat you.
Oh my God, barbecue.
We don't. Yeah. So, but and I know it's a two street situation. You have close people on both sides. I'm not saying that it comes from one side. We've spoken about that before. But with our platforms, guys, is there something we can do, really and truly, to try and to shed light on what's going on? Do you think there's something we can do?
Yeah, well, sorry again, guys. There's, as you know, I've designed like a logo, which just basically says "We are one," and I've currently got them on mask, and planning on having them on different things, and that's just a subtle way of saying, do you know what, guys, we are all the same, kind
Absolutely.
of like. There's no need to be racist, just because of our different skin colors, etc. But not only about race, it's about humanity, whether you're male, female, whether you're disabled or not, we are all the same. And trying to get that message out there, without doing like a march, etc. Just a friendly kind of, guys, we're the same kind of thing, and just my way of trying to kind of like change people's opinions.
But sorry, I do love that, because I feel that the way you approach things it's practical, and it's perhaps will make a difference. Because when I get very upset, because obviously I don't like to see my little brother being being spoken about in such a way. So I get offended, but a lot of times you do make a light of it, which I think is good. It's good not to take things to heart, because, what good does it do? And so it's a good thing that through humor, making fun of yourself a little bit, showing love openly, we're from different cultures, and it's okay. It's just of course, you're going to have cultural differences. We're from different cultures, but at the end of the day, there's so much more that brings us together. That it's good that you guys are showing that, and I hope that you never stop doing what you're doing because of the online hate. Do you think that the hate will ever stop you from doing what you're doing? Would ever stop you, Jess? Do you think you would probably just get upset and say, do you know what, this is too much? It's affecting me too much.
No, I don't. Like I said, like when it starts to like get a little bit too far past my thick skin, then I will take a break. But I'm not just going to be like, do you know what? Like, I'm just so like fed up with like having to like deal with this, like, because I think I've mentioned it to you guys before, but like when I think about the stuff that I have to deal with compared to what Damien has to deal with just because of the color of his skin and the fact that he's a male, and like what I have to deal with is like this compared to like what he has to deal with, what you have to deal with. And like I just think about that, and that alone just keeps pushing me to just support the way that I do. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Tyrone,
yeah, so I believe that we should, well, I think most of it is to do with ignorance. And like you were saying before, you were noticing that the comments were from people that weren't possibly native Anglophones. So probably this union that we have here is not something that they've commonly seen or regularly seen.
Yes.
So we need to continue pushing and not exposing, but just exposing them to different types of relationships, and until it becomes something common for the majority of the globe.
Exactly.
And
just
showing keep being visible, basically.
Yes, and showing not just Black people, but just different cultures doing things together, and showing what other people do. I think perhaps it will make a difference, and I hope it does. I absolutely do think so. My opinion. Do you share that opinion? Do you think in the future we will see a difference, that social media will make that change, guys?
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually, they will. I think just a lot of pressure from people who uses social media, both Black and white. We unite and just kind of have a bit of pressure against them, then I absolutely think that there will be some kind of a difference in the future. That will not stop racism, but I think it might limit the amount of racism online.
Yeah, I kind of hope that, I mean, there seems to be surges of education of racism when something awful happens, like a person gets killed by having their neck nailed on, or someone gets shot, or a little teenage Black girl gets sprayed in the face with mace. Like, there's always something awful that has to happen. And I think, like, going back to what you were saying about just telling Emmy to stop saying hello to your neighbor, like, yeah, I agree with you, because you shouldn't have to be the one that you shouldn't be the one that has to keep putting that olive branch out. Like, I don't understand. I just don't find it fair that the Black community has to just do extra all the time to prove that they're like people, that they're good people. That's to me that they even feel that they have to be doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, so I feel like social media will help. I'm just praying that we don't have to keep having awful things happen for us to be using social media to its full.
Absolutely. And you do see people come out, right? My daughter was saying a while back when I can't remember if it was the George Floyd case, or I don't remember if that was it. But she said, look, I am shocked. Look, this girl from my school, he used to say this to me and this to me and that. And look, she's got the fist up and she's saying this. And so I feel also a lot of times as well, people will support the cause because it's trendy. And that right there, I mean, social media, there's a lot of fakeness. Let's be real. There's a lot of fakeness there as well. So, but, it is what it is, and it's a process. I think it's a process, and it's working process, and hopefully it will do more good than harm in the future. Crossing my fingers that at least we will see that.
I think even if it is a trend and they do jump on the bandwagon, I think, or I would hope, that it plants a small seed in their mind, because they wouldn't have thought about it or even involved themselves in it otherwise.
Absolutely.
So, although I don't agree with people jumping on the Black Lives Matter trends, I mean, I think for them to even put themselves in that situation, it shows that they can align with better lines of thought. So
and I like to think that. I like that.
Yeah.
So and hopefully we'll keep doing what we're doing. And guys, I would like to just give you a massive thank you for being here today and talking about something that I feel is so very relevant. And I hope things get better, and I hope that you guys that I will stop seeing all these things. I mean, I won't stop seeing it, because you keep producing good content, and I love it. I absolutely love it. but well, Goldsmack says, I think it does. Yeah, hopefully, and it's just seeing more people out there, because more and more people are seeing different faces doing their things, and followers are from all walks of life, and I think it's going to be a positive thing. This is one negative thing. There is lots of abuse. You see lots of bullying, but as with anything, I think you have to take the good with the bad and hope for better.
Yeah.
And so that is it for us guys, because otherwise we'll talk for 2 hours, and I know it's the end of the day and everyone has responsibilities. So family, I thank you for being here, and I hope I will see you, Tara, next weekend. I'm over at yours next weekend, so that would be quite exciting.
Yeah,
and absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, that sounded complete. If my husband's watching this, I'm not going to Valencia.
I didn't even realize. Yeah. You'll be over at my channel, yes. Being an interviewee.
I'm going over to his channel.
Será solamente una entrevista, no a mi casa.
Vamos a hacer una entrevista. Es que mi hermano, es que es muy tonto.
Sí.
Okay, so guys, I love you lots, and let's keep growing, and let's keep shining a light on this, okay? So
definitely.
Hopefully, things will get better.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
With that, chicos, os voy a dejar.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye now. Ciao.